A poll was published by NBC. Favorability on Project 2025 as a concept. 4% favorability. I don't think I've ever seen it. I think if you asked Americans what the favorability was on like beating dogs with a hammer, you would get more than 4%. That's crazy. 57% of voters view it as unfavorable, only 4% seeing it as favorable, meaning 39% are undecided or don't know, which is pretty crazy if you compare that to like the relative number of Americans who, you know, vote Democrat, Republican, or don't vote at all. What was the sample? How is it that low? Well, the poll with a sample of 1,000 registered voters, so not just like, you know, they weren't just asking washed up, grungy surfer dudes on Long Beach. They were asking registered voters, okay, has a margin of error of plus or minus 3.1 percentage points, which means it's not statistically impossible that the actual favorability of Project 2025 is 0.9%. Either way, it's very low. I would say, I'm going to be honest with you, I would say the Democrats have done a very good job, not the Democrats broadly, Kamala Harris's campaign team, because we all know Biden wasn't doing shit with this, of making Project 2025 corrosive and toxic. I mean, to the point where even though it's the most obvious thing in the world that Trump is fully in line with the Project 2025 agenda, he still pretends not to be associated with it. That's pretty good. They desperately want to not talk about it. Oh, God, yes, 100%. No, it's been a massive L for them. The Heritage Foundation might actually end up losing Trump the election just because they were stupid enough to lay out their giant evil plan in a big textbook, you know? Which normally they do, but the plan usually is not this evil. Pretty good, though. Pretty darn good. I mean, Project 2025 is noxious enough that even Newsweek doesn't cover it positively. Proposals within Project 2025 include reintroducing legislation making it easier to fire federal workers, prosecution for distributing abortion pills by mail, abolishing DEI initiatives of the Department of Defense, reclassifying federal workers, making them easier to fire. While Trump has repeatedly denied having any relation to the document, Project 2025's 900-page proposal was drafted with input from a long list of former Trump administration officials who are poised to fill the top ranks of a potential new administration. Pretty good. Not Project 2025, I mean, the extent to which it's been demonized. Nazi shit? It is Nazi shit, 100%. Absolutely. DEI, isn't that a slur? I mean, might as well be. I'm not sure about that poll, though. It implies that most Republican voters believe that it would not be implemented. Why wouldn't most Republican voters believe that? Donald Trump keeps saying he has nothing to do with it. And it's not like the median Republican voter is watching Trump and going like, oh, he's playing a game. He's lying to save face. Do you know how bad something has to make Trump look for him to not defend it? I mean, the GOP right now is basically just stonewalling the Mark Robinson allegations. You know, I'm a black Nazi. That one. Like, they're basically just pushing it off. They're not engaging with it. But Donald Trump still pretends to not be associated with Project 2025. Must be quite a hot potato. Yeah, exactly. White people happy. Donald Trump is so allergic to keeping his hands off optically bad positions that he still defends the ad that he took out for executing the Central Park Five. Thank you very much. The exonerated five. He still defends taking out that ad to have them killed. That's how allergic he is to wiping, you know, to distancing himself from bad positions, and he won't touch Project 2025. It has been a very, very, very effective pushback. So probably one of the biggest differences, honestly, between Kamala Harris's and Joe Biden's campaign operations, the degree to which Kamala Harris is harping on and on very effectively about P2025. He's trying so desperately to pretend he's pro-choice. Yeah. With everyone wanted me to get rid of Roe v. Wade and kick it back to the states bit. Yeah. Because surely in those 1,000 voters, 4% unfavorable means any Republicans in the poll also dislike it. Yeah. Republicans are stupid. They don't like Project 2025, or they don't have opinions on it because they get all of their news from Trump and right-wing media. Like, the average Republican doesn't know anything about Project 2025 because the only place you hear about it is from liberal media because conservative media doesn't want to cover it. So it makes sense that conservatives would have a negative or non-existent opinion on it. Yes, if Trump endorsed Project 2025, they would all be in support of it. My mom gets really angry and screams when I turn on CNN or MSNBC. That's great. Okay, but it's CNN. Yeah, CNN trying to pivot to include more right-wing perspectives and then getting ignored by the right wing anyway because they're not as fanatically right-wing as you need to be in order to appeal to the modern constituency. If anything, this underscores a point you've made before about counter-messaging being important, like for immigration. No Project 2025 counter-message has resulted in an unfavorable view. Yeah, I would say so. They don't want to talk about it at all, rather than directly rebuke it. All they really want to do is say Trump has nothing to do with it, which is obviously, like, not... Why are media execs so stupid they don't even do greedy right? I mean, in a lot of cases, big business generally doesn't do greedy right, because their decision-making has to conform to an economic model where you prioritize short-term shareholder gains above everything else. I don't even necessarily think it's because they're stupid, at least not all the time. It's just the system fundamentally does not reward, you know, long-term stability. Not in all cases. Sometimes you get that. It really depends on the corporate culture, but obviously things can spiral out of control pretty quickly. Also, a lot of them are stupid. Well, yeah, of course, Nikki Bugs. But the more people disapprove of Project 2025, the more attention is drawn to the elements of it that are bad. You know what I mean? That's why it's so important to have pushback. I mean, from the Republican side, the lack thereof is a major liability for them. Real talk, by the way. Actual question. Interested in answers being fielded. Really looking for a group consensus on this one. Why are so many people leaving the Trump rallies early?
But take nothing for granted. You have to get out and vote. You just have to get out.
This is just a short video. It doesn't necessarily indicate anything. But, like...
The only thing they do well, they cheat. The policies...
Because he's boring? Yeah, but they're in a cult. Like, they just show up to take the pictures, then they leave? I guess that's possible. It just... Some people are saying it's because they're paid to be there. I don't think that's true. At all. That's conspiratorial. That would get out. The information will be out there. You're paying thousands of people to show up. Like, obviously that's going to leak. If it leaked that Donald Trump's or campaign team was paying people to show up to his rallies, that would be, like, hideously bad optics. That would look so bad. So, I guess it must actually be because he's bored. That's why Donald Trump got so defensive about it when Kamala probed him at the debate, because he has to be up there speaking, and the whole time he's watching people leave. Deeply deserved. It keeps happening.
No Russia-Ukraine war.
Like this is crazy. Maybe, is this my version of when Republicans on Twitter post all of the red counties that have a combined population of 5? And they're like, how can that possibly lose against the one blue county that has 50 trillion people in it? Am I falling prey to some kind of, like, bias here? Because it really is weird to me that his support is what it is when he's campaigning this infrequently and still getting such low numbers.
And think of what our nation would be with no Russia-Ukraine war, no October 7th disaster in Israel,
like
and the Middle East. It's inflamed right now. It's inflamed like nobody's seen it for 50 years. No inflation and energy dominance. That's what we'd have, energy dominance. We'd have no inflation. We wouldn't have either the Middle East or the Russia.
Like, jeez, you know? I'm not, maybe it's not as big of a deal as because right now, if we just go by the polling, it's basically a coin flip. Minor edge to Kamala. 65-35, maybe? I don't know. Depends on who you ask. Depends on the poll. If the polls are wrong in the same way that they were wrong in 2016, Trump wins in a landslide. If the polls are wrong in the same way they were wrong in 2022, Kamala Harris might win in a landslide. You know? It's just weird to think about. And the energy isn't there. So the Blexus dream lives? Probably not this election. Do you think the polls were just right in 2020? No, the polls were off, but they certainly weren't as off as they were in 2022 or 2016. Kamala will 99% win the next election. Independents don't answer polls. I don't think that's necessarily the case. If anything, I feel like if you pay attention to the discourse, it's the independents who are weirdly disproportionately loud because they enjoy the attention. Probably not. That's just me being mad at the median voter. Most independents are just Republican. That's not true, actually. I know it's psychotic to think about. It's insane to think about, but there actually are people in this country who are pro-queer and generally left-leaning, but don't know whether Trump or Kamala Harris are bad. I know. Or like, which one is worse? I know. I understand. I know. It's crazy. But unfortunately, yeah, Chapel Roan, for example. No, not really. Pro-business environmentalists. That is a real demographic, believe it or not. No, polls were very wrong in 2020. Wisconsin, Michigan, PA were supposed to go to Biden by like 5 to 8 points. Biden was all supposed to win. Okay, maybe when I say they were close, I mean like relatively speaking compared to 2016. But yeah, Biden was supposed to win Florida and North Carolina. I don't think I remember people expecting Biden to win Florida. Maybe I'm just like misremembering. I don't know. Independents aren't always neutral. I mean, in reality, I don't think there are neutral voters. I don't think a moderate voter exists. I think that if you talk to a moderate voter, a moderate Democrat, moderate Republican, moderate independent, whatever, you will find they have some positions that are like borderline Stalinist and borderline fascist. And they are completely inconsistent and incoherent, and they don't work together, but they believe it anyway, you know? Like the kind of person who genuinely thinks that landlords should be put up against the wall, but not in any like principled way, not in any like ownership of the common good kind of way, just in a they don't like landlords sort of way. And then they'll be radically anti-immigrant. It's like, what do you believe? Vosh Stalin was a fascist though? Sorry, my bad. What a Twitter lefty thinks Stalin was like, and fascist. My bad. Florida 2020 forecast was 31 to 69 in favor of Biden. Man, really? I don't remember this at all. Well, I think this is dumb. I don't respect this analysis. Polling is devilish. You all know. Isn't Nate Silver also an idiot? He's had his moment in the limelight, I feel. But now that he's been bought out by Peter Thiel, I mean, I've seen his takes lately. He definitely is not what he used to be. You know, there have been videos floating on the web of a possible Texas blue shift. I mean, there are videos floating on the web of literally anything and everything on Earth. I wouldn't work too hard off of that, you know, for your own good. In the long run, Texas will likely shift blue outside of continued and increasing voter disenfranchisement to the extent that it might be unsustainable even for the very Republican state government. But that's not going to be this election. Will Trump have the power to drag the GOP to nominate him in 28? Actually, I'm pretty sure Trump just said he's not going to run again. He's tired, man. He's lying. He's going to be really old. He also said that in 2020. I guess that's true. Who will then? Oh, my apologies. I haven't long rested recently and regained the spell slots I need to cast divination. Maybe Savras will favor me in my next ritual circle, and I will be provided with the divine information 4 years in the future. What do you mean, who will be? Yeah, I agree, Flavier. Kamala being a young candidate at 60 is right. Maybe like young candidate description. I think that 60 years old is a totally fine time to be a president. Like, at 60, unless you're quite unlucky, you should be fine up here and here, you know, like at 60, you should be fine. Not young though. No, 60 is not young, but that's still a all right age. Sam Cedar is 57. God, that's crazy. Sam presidency win? I wish. Obama was 47 when he became president. Yeah, I feel like 45 to 65 is probably like the golden window in terms of life experience, not senile. Right? And there's variance there. I mean, like, I still think Bernie Sanders would do a better job as president than many people younger than him. But let's let the man rest, you know? Wasn't JFK like in his late 30s? I don't actually know what age JFK was when he got elected. I mean, he was obviously young. I mean, what is the job of a president, right? Head of state, head of government. You know, a lot of it's just having the energy, right? A lot of it's being a Rizzler. I mean, it's not like you're up there solving doctorate level mathematical equations. You know, you're not doing Goodwill Hunting, finishing the whiteboard bit as a janitor. It doesn't require of you a lifetime of mental experience. You need Riz. You need to be confident. You have to be a good judge of character. You have to be calm. You need to know India and China have share a border, unlike a certain Tard president. Yeah, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. Folks, believe it or not, it's not actually good for your mental health to consume political news nonstop 24/7, especially in fraught times like these, and then not actually do anything about it. You know, you're just sitting there, you're thinking, what are you doing? I've got good news for you. Progressive Victory right now is gunning up for a big event October 5th and 6th in Wisconsin, canvassing for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, our preferred candidate for the presidency and vice presidency, if you didn't know. And they're doing phone banking and canvassing all over the country, okay? Basically what I'm saying is you should check out Progressive Victory's activities, you know? Pinned comment down below. I know you're thinking I'm busy, I don't want to do it, it's going to be difficult. I get so many people saying it's better than they think it's going to be. It's good. At least take a look. There's a lot going on. Maybe you think, oh, I'll contribute an hour a week, and then it turns out, you know, maybe you contribute 2 hours. You're having so much fun. Just give it a look.